good evening from what is now a pretty chilly Pride Park Stadium, where Hull City have been held to a 1-1 draw by Derby County. The second time in the space of 3 days that City have taken the lead through Xavier Simons and been unable to see it out and get 3 points. So it's just a point from their travels here in the East Midlands, backed by a sold-out 2,600 or so fans away in the corner over there, and they did their club proud, in fairness. Really roared their side on. Fairly, let's talk, there's a big story, but we'll come to that in just a minute. Let's talk about the game first. Fairly uneventful first half, if we're brutally honest. City started actually really well. They were really bright in possession, dominating much of the ball. Derby couldn't really get into the game, and so much so the crowd were getting quite frustrated. But the Achilles heel, as we've seen pretty much in every game bar the 3 games that Hull City have won, their final ball lets them down. It's really, really poor. They get into some fantastic areas. They just cannot find that final ball, whether it's a ball from out wide, a ball through the middle. And they got, as I say, Kamara was one of the players. There were 2 changes. Kamara was in the team for Liam Millar. He was getting into some really good areas down the left-hand side. But again, the final ball wasn't perhaps there. Bellumi off the right. Again, it just fell apart in the key areas. And as I say, from the back to the final third, there was some really nice football, enterprising. Simons and Puerta in the middle were really looking good. There was one moment of absolute carnage. City, you won't be surprised to know, had a corner. Derby cleared it, and out. You look up, and then Pandor's on the halfway line, racing out, and you're like, "What are you doing?" And Slater, luckily, Slater's kind of read the danger, ran back, headed it. I think against either Pandor or another player. It happened so quick, and I haven't seen a replay. But yeah, they got away with that one. I asked Tim Walter about it after the game, and he forgot. But that was a moment, heart in your mouth moment. There were 1 or 2 other. Derby City were good for the first 20 minutes, dominant without really looking like scoring. Derby worked their way back into the game. We know that Derby's main threat is from set pieces, so obviously a flurry of corners caused a bit of pandemonium in the penalty area. Panda made a decent save away to his right, away to his right. But I had to think them. I don't know my left from my right for a minute. It's been a long week again. But I think that they were okay in the first half. They just Josh, I think you're right about the striker. They just missed that quality in the final third. You see it. You see teams that are successful. They have good. They have players up front that can make a difference. And Bedia is a really nice guy. He's a willing runner, but he was just bullied out of it by Cashin, who I thought was excellent today, and Curtis Nelson alongside him. Bedia got absolutely no change from either of them. There was a moment in the first half where Bedia's gone up for a challenge with Nelson, and Nelson's just brushed him away, and Bedia almost. It's like he took it, and I want to see that my striker giving a bit back, and I just thought he was like I say, he was a willing runner all afternoon. Was Chris Bedia until he came off for João Pedro in the second half. But I want to see a bit more. And Josh, I think you're absolutely spot on that. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again because it's pertinent to the point right now. City didn't get in the playoffs last season because of their failure to bring in a top striker in January. And I know it's difficult. I know it can cost a lot of money. But strikers are the ones that will get you promotion or not. And I think for City, they lack somebody up front. Bedia, as I say, works hard. Pedro, the jury's out yet. We don't know what we're going to get from him. Burstow came off the bench. They're clearly not convinced by Burstow starting games yet. Otherwise, clearly he would be in from the start. So they just lack that killer threat through the middle. They don't carry a great threat from down the centre of the pitch. So that was the first half, fairly uneventful. A couple of moments at either end, but as an away performance, for much of it, City, you'd probably say that's okay. Second half, it kind of mirrored the start of the first half. In all honesty, the City were the quickest out of the traps. They dominated the ball. Derby were pinned back. 11 men, kind of on the edge of their own box. The crowd were getting narky again because Derby were unable to keep the ball for any great length of time. City kept winning it back, and you just wanted them to really press home on that advantage, and then they got in front 3 minutes before the hour. A good move, the ball Bellumi fed to Simons, and he ran onto it and battered it in the bottom corner from just outside the penalty area. Really good goal. fantastic celebration from Simons. It was scored at the opposite end. He ran the length of the pitch to celebrate in front of the City fans, who were going absolutely bonkers, as you could imagine. And if you were here, you'd have enjoyed that moment as well. It was great. And they had a couple of other moments after that. They could and probably should have gone 2-0 up. Kamara put a wonderful ball in from the left-hand side across. Bedia couldn't score. There were one or two. The mowers are coming, so let's get ready for that. There were one or two other nearly moments, but then 9 minutes later they give away a free kick on the left-hand side. Ben Osborne off the bench lobs it in, and Pandor sort of. I remember watching it, thinking, what's he doing? He feigned to come out to get the cross from Osborne, but then didn't. So he was well off his line, and the lad Dejuan Brown, he's only 19. He's a local boy, I think, come through the academy. Really good header. He got there just in front of Alfred Jones, I think it was, and angled it sort of over Pandor and into the back of the net. And City have. What's really frustrating is a bit like the other night against Burnley. They'd worked so hard to get into the lead, and they'd done it away from home, got themselves into the lead, and then it's a set piece. I said to Simons afterwards, in all your analysis before the game, in all your preparation for coming here, you would have known that Derby's big threats are from set pieces, be that corners, free kicks, throw-ins. They get the ball in the box quickly, and they play for the second balls. They've got big, strong players, and they will look to hurt you. And that's what happened. If Panda, I know it's difficult as a goalkeeper. Sometimes you want to come, sometimes you're thinking, do I stay at home? But I want to come and claim the cross if I can. Where it was too far out for Ivor to come and claim, and in the end he was caught in no man's land. If he was in his 6-yard box and he sort of protected his 6-yard box, I think even if he can't catch it, he gets up and he can probably tip it over the crossbar, and that goal doesn't happen. And then obviously there was a spell where Derby, their tails were up, the crowd were noisy probably for the first time, and they had a couple of chances. There was a header at the back post that was blocked, and then one that fizzed from right to left across goal that could have gone anywhere, just needed a touch, could have gone in the back of the net, could have been touched into the back of the net, and they got away with that. But then in fairness, they saw that kind of rocky period out, they regrouped and they went again, they finished quite strongly. But as I say, they just lack that final ball, that moment of real quality in the final third that is going to be the difference for me, whether at the minute they're a rank mid-table team. You look at the table, they're banging pretty much mid-table, although they are only 4 points off the bottom three at this stage, after 11-12 games. But if they are going to be a team that has the ability to go on and become one that challenges, Paul Warne, I've just spoke to him downstairs, Paul Warne believes that City can challenge for the top six. If they're going to be that team as the season wears on, they've got to find a way to win, to either see these games out, like Burnley on Wednesday night, you go 1-0 up, see it out, either get the second goal, or at the very least defend properly and give nothing away, and you win the game 1-0. Here again, you come away, a really difficult place. Derby's record, 11 wins out of 12 dating back to last season. It's their home form that is their bedrock here. Well, you've done the hard work in many ways. You've frustrated them. You've frustrated the crowd. It's at the end of a 3-game busy week. You've got yourself in front in the second half. With half an hour to go. Just play with a bit of common sense. Be difficult to beat. Don't give anything. Difficult to break down. Don't give any silly free kicks, unnecessary free kicks away in and around your penalty area. And then they do that. And I just think that this game for me was. I guess if you're Derby, you might have a different idea. But for me, when they go 1-0 up, that's the game they should go and win. Because they've got better players than Derby. All over the pitch, they've got better players. And they should now, when they go 1-0 up, they should go and punish them. We saw it at Stoke. We saw it against Queen's Park Rangers. And we saw it in the home game against Cardiff City. When they went in front, they put the hammer to the floor, or the foot to the floor. And they went and won the game. They got the second goal and they got the third goal. That's frustrating. That's something. And the Burnley, you'd say Burnley, look, they're a good side. They've drawn 0-0 against QPR today, but I thought that was a game that City could and should have won on Wednesday night. I didn't think Burnley were anything special. I thought City were very good in the first half, much better Burnley in the second half, but that was a game that City should have won. I thought that was 2 points dropped, and I think here again today, Derby created moments, and that's what you would expect for a team, at home. But I thought City, having gone in front, needed to show that ruthless edge to go and win the game, and I think they'll be getting on. Well, they'll be almost home now, but I think they'd have been getting back on the bus here at Pride Park, thinking that's 2 points dropped. That's 4 points in 2 games that we've dropped because we've got ourselves in front and we haven't finished it off. So look, that is something they're going to have to develop. That is something they're going to have to learn quickly. Because if this team are going to be anything other than mid-table, an average mid-table team, if they're going to be a team that can challenge, they've got to find a way to win these games, because there is quality in that team. There is quality in there, but it's just in that final third that concerns me. I think they need to get more out of Abdush. He came off the bench. We know he's got quality. We know he's capable of creating and scoring goals, but we've not seen it yet this season. I think we need more from Abdush. I was slightly pleased, because I don't think it works when he's out on the flank. But I did think Walton might have gone Abdush in place of Kamara for Liam Millar, who we'll come to in just a moment. But Kamara showed some real positive signs. Again, he did have a great chance in the first half when the defender slipped. He went through and he blazed it over the bar. Sometimes, and I'm a fan of Abu Kamara, I really like him, but I sometimes wonder if he doesn't have the self-belief in himself that he can perform at this level, that he can take players on a score and create. I mean, there were a couple of times he did it against Burnley, he did it again today, where he's put fantastic delivery in from out wide. But in terms of him going at goal and taking shots, I feel like we need to see more in and around the penalty area. Obviously, Simons has done it twice to good effect. He scored 2 in 2. But I just want to see a bit more positivity around the penalty area. Steve, it's a fair question about the attacking football. I mean, we've seen glimpses of it, not nearly enough, in fairness. But on their day, we've seen it on 3 occasions in the 3 wins. We've seen glimpses of it in facets in games. We're not seeing it consistently enough. And as I say, I just feel this was a game that they should have won today with a bit more craft, a bit more guile, and just a bit more positivity in the final third. This is a game they probably should have won today. But it is a point. I think any point in the Championship away from home is not to be sniffed at. City have got an awful record here. The last win here was the playoff game, the 3-0 playoff game in 2016. So they've got a terrible record here. Derby are decent at home. I think in isolation you say it's a decent point, but I think for those of us that have watched this game today, I think we're all going away feeling a bit disappointed that we haven't come away with 3 points. But it is what it is. They've got to learn, and they've got to learn quickly. They've now got excuse me, just 1 minute. Throat's really dry. They've now got a clear week after a hectic 3-game week. They've got a clear week to Portsmouth at home next Saturday, and they're in all sorts of trouble. It sounds daft at this. We're in the end of October. It'll be November by the time we play the game against Pompey. It seems daft to be saying at this stage of the season it's must win, but I think if City genuinely believe that they are capable of challenging for the top 6, that is a must-win game. I really think it is. If you can't beat Portsmouth at home when they've only won 3 at home in 2024, I know that's nothing to do with Tim Walter, and I accept that. But City have a problem playing at the MKM Stadium. I don't think there's anybody that can argue with that. Their home form this year has been pretty poor. 3 wins in basically 10 months now is not great, particularly if you are a team that want to compete at the top. And if you've got any aspirations of being a team that can compete at the top, you have got to beat Portsmouth at home. And then obviously you're into a 3-game week again before the break. You've got then Oxford away from home, which, like Derby, newly promoted, strong at home. And then you finish obviously with West Brom at the MKM Stadium to bring a close to that little 6-game jamboree before we all go off and have our final break of the calendar year. So in terms of the action, I think we've probably done it to death. There were some good performances. I thought Charlie Hughes and Jones looked really good again. Obviously the one error from the defence, if you like, was the winning goal, but I still think the goalkeeper should probably do better with that. That's his positioning. Excuse me, but I thought again really positive signs from young Charlie. I thought Charlie was really good. Danny, questions coming in, and I don't want to ignore the questions when I can see them. Danny, would he look at playing 2 strikers? I don't think he would. I don't think that is Tim's style. I think if you look at what he did at Hamburg, Glatzel was the main kind of number 9, and they played around him. And I think at City, that's something he wants to do here. Bedia is his number 9, and he wants to get Bedia up from somebody in the little pocket. At times it was Regan Slater today. Before he was taken off, Tim Walter said he didn't think he was playing very well, basically, so that's why he took him off. But I just don't see in his system, in his formation, how 2 strikers work. Personally, but for me, it's about having that target man. If it is Bedia, making the ball stick, going into him, making it stick, and then get him your 2 wingers, whether that be Kamara and Balumi or whoever it is, and the player in that number 10 slot, to get close to him. So when the ball comes off him, there's players around him that he can bring into play, and that at times we're not seeing that. We're seeing Bedia quite isolated, and then so when he holds the ball up, he's having to come, he's potentially 25 yards from goal, but instead of keeping the ball 25 yards from goal and using players to go out the penalty area, he's having to sort of come back towards the halfway line and lay it out to Louis Coyle or go out to Cody Drame, who I thought was very good again today. So that's something they've got to work on, but they're just not ruthless enough in and around the penalty area, and they lack quality ultimately in and around the penalty area, and that is something that they've got to work on, that the players have just got to do better. So in terms of action, I think that's probably it from here at Pride Park. We do have to finish with the really, really sad news about Liam Millar, and obviously you'll know that Liam went down on Wednesday night against Burnley early on. It looked like he took a kick to his knee, but whatever happened, he went down early on. He had a lengthy spell of treatment, had to come off, went back on, tried to run it off, and obviously, as we now know, it's an ACL injury, so he was never going to run that off. He went down, and the scans have revealed kind of the worst possible news, really, that he's done his ACL in his knee. He is out for the season. We will not see him again this season. He will need surgery. Surgery is not going to happen probably for the next 3 weeks because of the swelling in his knee, so they need to wait for the swelling to die down before they can operate. And obviously once they operate, then it'll be a stage of rehab and getting back. So that is severe. Liam's a great lad. He's a fine player, and he is, he's going to be a real miss for Hull City. Of that, there is no doubt. They spent a lot of money on him in the summer. They spent most of the summer trying to get him above a lot of other clubs. So to not have Liam Millar for the next 30 odd games, 33, 34 games is going to be a real blow to them, in fairness. And so we send our best wishes to Liam and his family, because that is, anybody that's gone through an ACL injury knows quite how serious they are, and how lonely that recovery can be when the rest of your teammates are out on the grass and you're in the gym, pounding the gym day after day after day. But he's got to do it. He'll do it. Hopefully that he gets himself right and we see him in pre-season next season. But yeah, sending all our wishes and thoughts to Liam, because that is, as injuries go, that is horrible. And I know that the club are brilliant. The club will do everything they can to support him. The players are already in touch with him, trying to keep his spirits up, and when he can get back into the training ground, they'll be there. And at the minute, when he gets back, he will have a bit of company, unfortunately, because there are, as we know, Carl Rushworth, Stephen Alzate, although he's not as bad, and Marvin Malem, are out injured, so they're in the treatment room. You've obviously got the goalkeepers Harvey Cartwright and Timothy Lotatala are also recovering from injury. So that injury list is growing. Good job that, as Tim always says, that the squad is big. He needs a big squad. He's got a big squad, but that shouldn't dilute the fact that if you're going to be successful, you need your good players. And unfortunately for City, Liam Millar is one of their best players. They're probably their leading winger, and to not have him for the next 8 months, 9 months is going to be a real kick in the you-know-what. So, yeah, that's not great news, as I say, and I'm sure I stand for everybody watching and every City fan in sending our best wishes to Liam in his recovery, and hopefully he gets his surgery, it goes well, and he can get himself right and get back on that long road, and as I said, the club will do everything they can to support him in getting fit again. So that's it from here at Pride Park. As I say, clear week for the Tigers now before the game against Portsmouth at home next Saturday, and we'll have the podcast at some point next week. I don't know if it'll be Monday, it might not be Tuesday. I apologise in advance for that. I've got a prior situation, but I'll try and get it recorded as quickly as possible. If you want to get in touch with the pod, of course, at the 1904 Club on Twitter, or drop us an email or whatever, or get in touch with Fletch or with Burnsy. Prutz is no longer on social media, but I'm sure you can email Sky with your thoughts for the legend that is David Prutton. So that's it from here at Pride Park. A point on the road for the Tigers here in the East Midlands. Great support from the 2,600 or so in a crowd of just over 29,000 here at Pride Park. Have a great weekend, people, and we will catch up with you next week.